If you just add in the little bit of extra code I've done, you walk around and then you press the P button. Oh, we can place plants. We've just now made Stardew Valley in a few minutes in our game talk. So there we go. So yay, thank you. Hi.
So our next guest is not just very British. We'll see how many people were here last year, because it was the same intro. So he did talks with drones before, on stage. Not this one, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
He did talks with music and Ruby on this stage. And now he's going to do it with Ruby again, but building games. Give it up for Julian.
Hey, welcome everyone. I hope you're all super full and tired from your lunch. So obviously we're going to be talking about computer games, so there's going to be loads of maths, in-depth game theory, so I hope you're all ready for like really, really hardcore stuff. So let's start. So for those that don't know me, my name's Julian. I'm a Ruby developer from the UK. I also, as Adrian said, I make music. Recently, I'm pretending to be a computer games programmer, but as you can see from my HP score, I'm an amazing chef. And so I have now 2 cookbooks from Romania. So if you ever come to the UK, I'll cook you Romanian food. If you're a fan of Mexican food, I can do all of that. And whichever country you're all from, just tell me and I will make that food for you. And then the last thing in my developer stats is I've just recently become a trustee of a charity in the UK. So I'm just going to take a second to talk about that. We're called Protect Earth, and we're basically, can I swear, Adrian?
A little bit.
Oh, we're trying to un-F the planet from climate change. And so to date, we've planted over 100,000 trees. We've got many, many acres of land that we're in charge. Basically, we're trying to stop the world looking like on the, where are we, left, to make it look more on the right. And so we're constantly raising money. Currently, we're trying to buy some more land. We're going to be planting over 100,000 trees this planting season, so I'll happily talk your ear off about climate change and tree planting after the talk. But anyway, let's get back to games. So, what is a game engine? So we're all Ruby programmers. We'll know about like frameworks such as Sinatra or Rails. Well, game engine is kind of basically like a framework, but for making games. And like with every other sort of programming thing, everything has its pros and its cons. And so many of you might have played computer games in the past. So if you played like big action, 3D kind of games, there was probably written in Unreal, which is super, super good for 3D games, a little bit okay for 2D. But if you wanted to write games using that, you need to do C++, or they have this visual scripting language. And if you're anything like me, like drag and drop kind of scripting just doesn't flow for me as a developer. So then you might think, well, maybe I could use Unity. That's, again, it's amazing for 3D. 2D, it's a lot better than Unreal, but you have to write stuff in C#. And most of us are Ruby developers, and we don't want to be doing C#. So, and the thing with the first two is Unreal, you have to pay for it if you're making a lot of money. Unity kind of used to be free, and then they kind of changed. It's like, actually, we want you to pay us a lot more. So if you play a computer game and you see the Unreal splash screen, it's because the developers didn't want to pay Unity all of the money, so they have the splash screen on there, and they want to take like a percentage of your revenue and all of this stuff. So, you know, when you make your $10 million game, you don't want to be paying them. You've already paid for the license once. So anyway, then you move over to like open source. You know, yeah, open source is great. There's a game engine called Godot. But to use that, you have to use GDScript, which is like JavaScript, so that's definitely a no. Or you can use C#, C, or C++. But it's kind of cool. It's open source, but it's got its downsides. You can't release it on all the consoles unless you pay them more money. And then again, it's all money, money, money. And then there's another one called Love 2D. This is specifically, oh yeah, Godot, you can do 3D and 2D. Love 2D is in the name. It's all 2D. But you've got to use Lua. Lua's kind of cool. It kind of looks and feels like Ruby, but not quite. So you're programming and like, oh, but why aren't I just writing this in Ruby? Well, I have the answer for you, my friends. Dragon Ruby. As you can see, it's written in Ruby. So we can make games in Ruby, so you don't just have to make web apps and other sorts of things. We can now go and make computer games. So when you think about 2D games, these are just some of my favorites. So many of you would have known Super Mario Brothers, although I think this was written in assembly, so let's just skip over that. Then there's Cuphead, Stardew Valley, Factorio, Chef RPG. So apart from Super Mario and Cuphead, Stardew Valley, Chef RPG, and Factorio were all made by a single developer team. Admittedly, none of them were in Ruby because they didn't know about Dragon Ruby yet, but they would have had to have written in C, C Sharp, and all these other things, and they took many, many years. So imagine if they had the power of Ruby, how quick Stardew Valley, instead of being like 4 to 5 years, could have probably been like 2 months or something as the single developer framework. So yeah, when we talk about 2D games, it's kind of these types. So they go from anything from a platformer to Cuphead, which is just this insane. If you've ever played it, it's amazing. So what is Dragon Ruby? Well, as I say, it's a game engine. So as Amir, the creator, says, it's a professional-grade 2D game engine. Amir's actually used it to release games on the Nintendo Switch, on iOS, and at the end of the day, it's all in Ruby. So it's based on nRuby, which is the embedded Ruby. So you don't get all the things like Ruby gems and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's just everyday Ruby that we all know and love. Underneath that is a framework called SDL, which is a way of, it's a C library that you don't ever have to touch, but it means that you can deploy on any console. So it draws the screen, talks to the controllers or the keyboard and the mouse, deals with all the audio. And if you're wondering, well, who uses SDL? Valve use SDL for their Steam client, and so it's a huge industry standard platform, so we could get the power of that just from using Ruby. And unlike a lot of the other game engines, where it's like, okay, if you pay us this much money, you can maybe release on Windows and Mac, but for consoles, oh, that's expensive. Dragon Ruby, admittedly, it's a paid framework, but we'll get onto that. But when you use Dragon Ruby, you can release on Windows, Mac, Linux, web, because we can compile Ruby down to WASM, and you can deploy your game on the web. You can run it on the PlayStation, the Xbox, the Nintendo Switch, the Steam Deck. There's also support for VR. So if any of you have got a VR headset, you can write a VR game in Ruby, and you can also be one of the really bad $2 games on the Steam website that people buy and play once. And then we've got iOS and Android. So basically, Ruby, we can write it once and run it absolutely everywhere. It's amazing. So as I was saying, Dragon Ruby is a paid framework. So there's the standard edition, and then beyond that, you've got the professional and the pro. So with the professional and the pro, you get like HD rendering. You can then release on all the consoles. But Amir has wonderfully given us a free license for the standard edition. So we'll put it, oh yeah, big shout out to Amir, thank you. So we've put it in the Discord. Friendly.rb have tweeted it, but if you don't get the link, I've got it, and we'll keep giving it out. So it's free up until the end of the conference, or maybe Friday. Go download the standard edition of Dragon Ruby, and to quote Amir, grab a license and build a game, damn it. Because, we always got to be shipping. We've got to build games. Okay, so what slide's next? Let's see. Oh, yeah. So that's basically all my slides. So you've done it. We've done it. Woo! We've been like 5 minutes. We've done all the slides. Okay, now let's get into a game. Right. Let's see if this works. So as I said, Dragon Ruby is, you use Ruby. So unlike Unreal and Unity and Godot, we've got these massive IDEs and all of this complicated stuff. You just use whatever text editor you want, whatever terminal you want. So I'm just using VS Code and the Mac terminal. So let's go and run one of our first games. So, oh yeah, that's the cool thing. So Dragon Ruby, when you download it, has got great documentation, and it also has an absolute ton of samples. So any type of game, whether it's like an action RPG, or a turn-based game, or a space shooter, there's going to be a demo for it. So you can see we've got hundreds of game demos here. So this one, it's called Flappy Dragon. It's basically like the hello world of Dragon Ruby. So hopefully if sound works and everything works, So yeah, this is all written in Ruby, and so I'm just pressing the space bar, and as you can imagine, Flappy Dragon is hard to play, especially when you're talking. But the cool thing about Dragon Ruby, we don't have to compile our code. Like a Rails app, it's just live, so any changes we make on the code will just reflect without stopping the app. So if I happen to go over to VS Code, we can find the little line there. Oh look, this is the method that calls calculate game over. If we comment that out, go back to the game, now I think the game, yeah, now it's easy. So now I can actually talk to you and we can just keep playing the game. So this is also, as I said, this is like the hello world of Dragon Ruby. If you check out Amir's YouTube channel, he's got a version of this playing it on the MetaQuest VR. So instead of the walls coming towards us left, right, they're kind of coming towards you in 3D space, which, I wish I had a VR that we could all get in and try it. That would be super, super cool. Let's quit that. But this whole game is, let's see, 355 lines of code, and I hope you all took notes, copied all that as I scrolled down. Like, it's not much, but we'll get into how all the code works in a minute. But the cool thing is, it's not just using like simple 2D sprites and graphics like that. You can also use shaders, so this is where it gets the complicated maths. It's where you tell the graphics card, hey, here's my array of pixels, do something like move them left, move them right, and that's where, games get all these amazing animations and colors and whatnot. And so again, this is a game written in Ruby, but it's using shaders, which is written in C, so I'm sorry about that, but it's only a little bit, so we'll gloss over that. But as you can see, as we move through the water, we get all of the ripples. And if people say, is Ruby fast enough? Dragon Ruby runs at 60 frames per second, so 60 times a second your code runs to make the game. And televisions and all these things, that's a good frame rate. Maybe some gamers like, I want 120 FPS. It's like, yeah, but you don't need that for a 2D kind of platformer. But imagine you're just at home and you're like, can't be bothered to do Rails. You can just sit here and play this nice sort of tranquil, relaxing game. But like the code for this, let me see which one. Yeah, so the actual code to load this game is 80 lines of code plus comments, and then the shader code, which I'm not sure how much any of it works, but it's basically like take these numbers, do more numbers to it, is only 67. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's just get rid of this. Let's actually see how to make a game ourselves. Right, so simple game. So in order for time and me not actually having to type things, I've just pre-written all the code and we'll comment it out. So let's just scroll down to here. So when you load up Dragon Ruby, this is the first thing you'll see. So this is the sort of the hello world of Dragon Ruby. Got the little Dragon Ruby logo. We can use our arrow keys to move it left and right. And it's brilliant. And so I'm not going to quit the app. We can just, as I say, we can live reload it as we go. So the main method that you get with Dragon Ruby is tick. This is what it calls every 60 times every second. So basically all of your game code goes in here, or you can like have objects, or you can have hashes and all sorts of things. You can make it as complicated as you want, but tick gets called 60 times every second. So we don't want the default codes. Let's comment that out. We want to draw our own sprite on the screen. So before we look at the code, you see we have a color called black, and we create a solid, the size of the screen. We set the color to black. We create a player here with a width and a height, and we get a size. So that's the thing. Dragon Ruby has XY coordinates. So most game development, and for some reason, the 0, 0 is in the top left. So if you imagine you want to make Mario jump, you'd have to do like -20 because you're going down. And Dragon Ruby's like, no one thinks like that. So Dragon Ruby actually does the bottom left. It could be right. I lose track. But that way, when you do plus, something goes up. When you do minus, something goes down. And so we can set the location, we can set the height, and we can pass it in a little graphic. And one of the things it has, Dragon Ruby's got this args. It's basically this big bucket of all of the structure. And so we're just passing our player using the shovel operator. And so this is basically, if you know how to do the shovel operator, you know how to use hashes, you know how to be a games programmer in Ruby. So let's see how our game looks. Ah, brilliant. We have our friendly little bunny on a black screen. But if I move the cursors, nothing happens. So let's make this more better. If I can uncomment this, no comment this. Okay, version 2. Right, so it's the same code, but now we say if args input keyboard key held up, so the up key, let's make the player's Y +5, and if it's down, let's make it -5. See, that's why like having the 0, 0 at the bottom corner makes much more sense, because then up and down makes more sense. If you want to go right, add 5. If you want to go left, -5. So let's see how that works. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Woo! But, we're not going to be able to sell this for very much on Steam. I mean, I've seen worse. But so let's see if we can make this better. You're following along with the code? Is it good? It's basically just hashes and variables. Super easy, right? Barely an inconvenience. Okay. Version 3, let's see. So we kind of want our little player to change direction when we're moving it. So when we press the up and down, left, right, if we actually have a direction variable, we'll store that in direction. In our graphics folder, so you can see here for down, I've got various different things, versions of the image, and so we can just using like a string and then passing in the direction. If we save that, you can see when we move the character, it changes direction. But it still doesn't look very interesting, does it? It's not really any animations. So that's easy. We can change that. So that was version 2, 3. And again, what is this? This is like a couple of lines of code, and we've got a game that moves the character on the screen. Okay, it's version 4. Oh, look, it's getting longer. There we go. Can we do it? Scroll up. There we go. Right, boom. Right. So this one, same thing again. Add the character, do the direction, but this time we've got an idle image. And so if we look in the images, you can see if I was like skip between these two, it kind of looks like an animation, right? And so what we then do is we call this method looping animation. And all that does is, depending on for like a certain amount of seconds and how many images are in the folder, we just basically loop through and call with the direction, and then the sprite index, so that'd be like 0, then 1, or there could be many more. So now, it's kind of just bobbing up and down. But because we also added in the direction earlier, it now bobs up and down with the correct direction that we're going. So now we're making a game. You didn't seem very impressed. Now we're making a game. All right. Okay. Wow. Oops. It's really hard to select stuff, isn't it, when you're in front of a bunch of people. Right, let's comment this out. Version 4. Let's move over to version 5. All right. So our game, as you can see, is just on the black background. But what if you actually wanted to create an entire world? Well, it turns out you can. There is some external software that you can use to create maps, which we can have a look at in a bit, but we can easily just call that from Dragon Ruby And now, our little friendly bunny is here in Romania, and it's got a nice little place to explore. So in this, we've got a camera that follows the player, and so when you move, the screen moves, we can go meet another character. Oh, it's Adrian. Hey, Adrian. But you notice one problem, though. We walk down this path, oh, no, now we're in the water. Like, that's yeah. That's not what we want. So let's see. I forget what version 6 is. Let's find out what's next. So there's an open source project called Tiled where you can generate these maps, and then there's a library called Tile Driver that we can just require. Even though you can't have Ruby gems, you can just put the source code in your app. So you can require Tile Driver, and that will load up all of the tiles. It's a bit more complicated, but it's still just basically, Ruby code with arrays and hashes. So it's all good. Right, so what's version 6? I've forgotten now. All right, let's see. Oh, yes, we got collisions now. So you can see in the terminal it says hit from the left. If I go here, hit from the right. When I try and walk onto the water, oh, can't. Yay, we've done it. We've made our game. And then, just one step from that, you're like, well, that's a cool little demo, but, what game could you make by doing that? Well, if you just add in the little bit of extra code I've done, you walk around, and then you press the P button, oh, we can place plants. We've just now made Stardew Valley in a few minutes in our game talk. So there we go. So, yay, thank you. Hi. All right, let's close that. What is next? Let's find Keynote. Where did Keynote go? Keynote. There it is, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is the app I was using to make the maps. It's really, really cool. It's called Tiled. You can just make these giant levels and all sorts, and it's all just boxes and images, and then you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, and you can use it with Dragon Ruby, which is super cool. And then two other things that I often use when I'm doing game development is an app called Sprite. It's $20, but you can use it to create your own 2D pixel art, and so you can have those images in your game, or you can make pixel art of your friends and send them, and then they're like, oh, thanks. And if you don't want to be drawing your own art, there's a website called itch.io, which you can also use to publish your games, and there's a bunch of artwork and scenes and assets on there that are free or that you can buy, and so that's kind of super cool. Right, we have another demo. Okay, so we made a simple kind of single player wandering around, but now I need two beautiful volunteers. So Adrian and Yarrow, can I have you? You said beautiful. Oh yeah, I meant Yarrow. So, as you know or may not know, Adrian and Yarrow have a podcast called the Friendly Podcast, so I thought it'd be really fun at Friendly.rb. Let's see who the friendliest friendly podcaster is. So let's have a friendly competition. Okay, so let's plug in the USB-C, and then bought really long cables so that you had space and didn't. Yeah, but don't forget they're not MagSafe, so don't run off the screen. Right, who wants to be player one? Go for it. Yeah. Oh, why aren't these USB-C? Which way around does it go? And don't plug that one in yet. There we go. Right. Okay, player one. Yeah, it's just now all tangled. Okay, player two. Right. Okay, so this is a game I made for the conference. Again, it's all in Dragon Ruby. I got some free music from one of those free music websites, got free artwork from one of those free artwork websites, and we've obviously got our free volunteers. So, you all ready? Yep. Okay. let me know. One of you can press A, I think, or X. So this is called Friendly Pong. Is it working, Yarrow? Should be. Oh, there you go. Should we restart? Okay. Oh. Stop it. I do it. Stop it. Okay, you do it. Go to reset. This one. So, what I did with this game is every time someone scores, the little sun goes faster and faster. Yay! Go Yarrow! I'm winning. Oh. Have you rigged this game? Oh, you can use the D-pad too if you need. So it's best out of 10, so we've got a while to go. Yeah, everyone says Ruby is slow, but like, look how fast this is going. And so I'm not even using like any shaders or anything. This is all just pure Ruby running on the GPU, even to do like the sun explosion. And do you want me to do it for you, Yarrow? I can play 2-player against myself. It was the only way to test.
You guys win.
Oh. We probably don't need it. Does anybody else want to go quickly? Yeah, you're right. I think this controller might be a bit sad. Right. All right. I guess we should move on. Okay. So.
Thank you.
Let's quit that. Yeah. So you can make a really simple 2-player game in Ruby for all your friends. Let's just quickly see the code. There it is. So it's just the same thing we saw. You know, you have the tick, that runs around, we have the players, we play some music, blah, blah, blah. Super, super cool. Right, now, this is the bit that I've been worrying. As you may remember from the beginning of the talk, my talk was called Making a Massively Multiplayer Online Game with Dragon Ruby. And so, you know, I've been learning over the last few months how to make simple 2D player games, and I thought, making a multiplayer game can't be that hard. I've made a 2-player game. And so to make a multiplayer game, I had to have a Rails app. Then I had to have any cable doing WebSockets, and I had to get the Rails app to talk to the computer game, and then I had to get all of that to work. Then we have to use the Wi-Fi. So fingers crossed it all works. So before I show you the code to load the game, I need to get the game to load, otherwise you can't connect to it. So let's find which one of these it is. Okay. So this game is called Gem Collector. So the goal is to collect Ruby gems. So it's, no, it's not running. Nope. I know, sorry, thank you. I know how to computer. So I left them all there ready to do, so I knew which things to run. Okay, and then let's leave that a minute. Okay, so let's go to the slides. So, you don't need to be on the Wi-Fi, but if you are, it's fine. But then you can also use the internet. But if you all connect to juliancheal.unrock.io, I guess I should get my phone so I can play too. So let's see if this works. So when you get there, you should be able to see a new game, and then you create a you put your name in and you create a player. See, it worked when there was 3 of us doing it, but I guess 100 and something. So this was always an error issue. But worst case, I can show you the game, then we can all play afterwards, and so we can all in little groups and try it. I don't think we're there. Okay. Is it working for you? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry that our massively multiplayer online game isn't massive or multiplayer or online, but what you all would have seen is this screen here. We'll have a leaderboard. You can see there's no players online yet, so we go to join. We can call ourselves... I know, but then... yeah. So we create our player name called Foobar. Now you can see we've got a D-pad. And then if we go back to the home page, you can see Foobar's currently winning with 0 gems. There's 1 player online. And this is all happening, all updated with AnyCable. And then we go and load the game. And so this is the game Gem Collector. So we'll start it. And as you can see, there's 1 player. Yeah. And so this window down here, this is my Rails app. You imagine it's all going over the internet. This is the game running on my local machine, and it's all talking over API using Ruby and AnyCable. So as I press the directions, nothing works because we've set up AnyCable and WebSockets to use the network. But we would have been able to control the players. So we'll have to play it afterwards when there's less of us around. So I'm very sorry for the massively multiplayer online fail. Yeah, no, Wi-Fi doesn't scale. But yeah, this is so what this game does is it talks to the Rails API and then finds out how many people are in the game, will generate all of the players. The gems are all randomly generated, so the Ruby gems give you plus points, the other gems give you minus points, and then the whole point is to run around and collect as many gems as you can. So that's my sad end to what would have been a wonderful talk. So go get Dragon Ruby Standard Edition, tweet Amir, tweet Friendly Ruby, tweet Dragon Ruby, and as he says, go build a game, damn it.